Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. Today's video is a bit of a longer one as I'll be featuring 3 games against Woot. I did feature a game against him in yesterday's video, but I actually managed to get a best of 3 in yesterday's stream, and I thought that the games were rather interesting, and it's always nice to see how these type of best of series kind of develop as you play against someone multiple times in a row. So the timestamps will be down below if you're looking to look at a specific game or you want to go back and forth. And yeah, I mean, here we go. Game number 1. Of course, if Elite Spec shows up, high chance I'll be picking it, especially when it starts with chaff. If it doesn't have chaff, you'll see me think a bit, and then I'll often still end up picking it anyway, even if maybe it's not the wisest thing, but hey, I think it's fun. Now, I will be up against Sledgehammers and Marksman for a start, and my opponent goes for double Arclight here. So opts to not go for chaff, which is completely fine. Sledgehammers tend to do a similar job to chaff, especially in the early rounds. Although I will say, against Elite, it's not as strong because I get access to level 2 Marksman, and level 2 Marksman can one-shot level 1 Arclights and level 1 Sledgehammers. So, well, you already kind of know what I'll be going for. Woot, of course, we know always plays on the right side, so don't be too surprised if you see the next games. We play a lot, and yeah, he has his method that works very well because his account is actually his main account, which he's playing on in these series is 2.4k MMR. So yeah, very, very high. And well, you will see there is a trend and a logic to his madness. But they're always exciting. Here we go, double Marksman. Gonna line them up here together with the spiders. I like to leave some gaps because I don't want both spiders to be shooting at the same chaff. And I want to keep some space here potentially for giants. On Elite, it's a little bit less likely that you'll be going giants, but you can get them from drops, of course. And on top of that, going wide also means that you can protect the left tower a little bit more, as you can deal with the center without the center like randomly going over to your tower. We will barely win, but well, I am Elite, so round 1 is usually a very strong one as we have 100 more resources. Opponent, by the way, is a quick supply specialist, so could have opted to buy something else but didn't do so, going to hold on to that. Round number 2, Typhoon shows up, and well, I know that Woot really likes to play Typhoons and he really likes to play Badgers. He's been experimenting with Void Eye, which is what we featured in yesterday's video. But yeah, he was on his main account now, so I kind of knew that he was going to pick one of the more serious options here, and it's going to be the Typhoon. For me, it's a tough choice. I can go for Typhoon if I want to. I kind of need to be wary of the potential Wasp option, but Typhoon just doesn't seem like that amazing to me. I already have potentially strong chaff clear with these tarantulas, and Badger is a bit of a similar story. So I'm just going to opt for the safe option here on Elite, pick up those wasps and put them on the flank as flank defense. You will see me kind of leave a gap here, as I do want to keep the option to potentially put a Rhino in front. If he does pick a Typhoon and he wants to flank with it, at least my wasps won't be right in front of them. And we pick up 2 more crawlers here. Didn't really feel like I needed much more. My opponent didn't buy much chaff, so there was no real reason to go for more chaff here. Actually, it looks like I put 1 crawler on the left, which does manage to get a debuff. However, we didn't quite manage to get rid of all of the enemy chaff, and so the crawlers that were added this turn will be gobbling up my marksman and make us lose the round. So already here, round 2, Woot bouncing back. And with the tower debuff, that Typhoon should be completely fine clearing up my level 2 crawlers. So a bit of a back and forth here in the early game. Round number 3. And additional deployment slot shows up. Okay, so here, this is a very, very good card. Additional deployment slot. However, on Elite, it's hard to make use of this when it shows up this early. This round I have 600 resources. If I take that, I have 500. That's going to be tough, right? Ideally, you would even like mass recruit and deploy 4 things. That's going to be very rough to do in the next rounds because I don't want to buy just chaff. I'm going to want to buy more expensive units, probably that cost 300, and it means I'm going to have to delay getting value out of this card until probably round 5 or so. And I'm thinking I can't have that because there's other stuff that's being shown here. There's a redeploy that I might, need to deal with. This just doesn't seem like the right spot for it. I don't want to give up tempo. I want to get some power right now. And so I think to myself, all right, I've got this Typhoon. How am I going to kill it? Because my marksman's kind of far away, and I don't really know what I would want to throw in front of it. Ideally, it would be something like a Rhino. And so I think, all right, well, Rhino would cost me 350 with the unlock cost, which still leaves me enough to get the portable shield and then buy a chaff unit. So I use my 2 deployments, but I get something powerful out of it, which is gonna be that Rhino. Now, at first I put it all the way in the back because I thought maybe he's, going to be flanking me with this, with another Typhoon. But I was like, if he does, I'm gonna put a crawler here that should be able to kill the Typhoon as it spawns in. And then in the meantime, we are going to have a beefy, essentially level 4 Rhino with that port shield on the right side to tank for our units as they run in. This also allows my crawlers to do something, right? Because the chaff clear units are locked onto the Rhino. And yeah, immediately we've managed to get rid of that problematic Typhoon that was doing so well for him last round. He goes for a very defensive Typhoon on the left side tower. I also did level up my tower, by the way, here on the left. I think I did that last round. And looks like we immediately manage to strike back. So pretty happy here about how this round has gone so far. And happy with my decision to go for the port shield, get a Rhino, and kind of say, I don't need additional deployment slots. I'm elite spec, quality over quantity, important with this one. And, well, we let the round speak for itself. Round number 4. Electromagnetic impact shows up, but also mass-produced Rhino. Now, mass-produced Rhino is a really, really, really good card on Elite, in my opinion. It's insane, because you don't really care about the 20% attack loss, since Rhinos typically will be tanking, and also their attack is really high, because they're a melee unit. So, you kind of just forget about that, and it's just a 20% HP loss, but the unit costs half of what it normally costs. On Elite, of course, you have to pay the level 2 price, but that means I can get level 2 Rhinos with only 20% less HP for 200. And, oops, we kind of went a bit fast there, but my opponent actually goes for the exact same play as me there. Goes for Elite recruited level 2 Rhinos, also picks up the armor. I do the same, but I only have money for 2 Rhinos. And yeah, I have 1 Rhino here on his tower. The one on the right doing really well. And you can just kind of offset the HP loss and get a little bit of extra HP even because of the 50% bonus on armor enhancement. And then, yeah, you have really, really beefy Rhinos for a much lower price. And so we will be winning out here. We actually managed to make sure that we kill the Typhoon. So again, the Wasp's doing a decent job, staying alive, annoying his marksman. And we enter round number 5, which is the earliest round that unit drops can show up for the second rotation. Opponent will be picking up the Overlord, which makes sense. Overlord definitely pretty strong there. The Phoenix would have been fine to pick up as well. I decided to go for the Mustangs instead because I didn't really invest much into the chaff gear department just yet, and, well, if he decides to go Overlord, I want to be sure that I have something against a potential mothership, which he does run. We pick up the level here on the Rhino. The Mustangs for now can just stay where they are. I don't think I need to give them a range enhancement because my Rhinos are melee, so they should just run in front, protect them, and that means my Mustangs really don't need the range right now. I don't really have the money for it either. Or rather, I want to invest my money elsewhere, which is going to be 3 more Rhinos. Opponent here, already loaning round 5. He likes to do these kind of in the mid-game, round 4, round 5, to get a massive round. And you can see, this is quite beefy. 3 overlords, 1 from the drop, 2 purchased himself, and overlord artillery. That ground cannon has been teched. Also decides to missile here on the left to get rid of the crawlers, missiles on the right against a potential other chaff unit so that he can get in quick. And, well, I decide to do a similar play, but it's not quite the same amount of investment, as we have 2 rhinos here on the left. They will get missiled, they will get slowed, and, well, there is a Mustang behind. This rhino doesn't really seem that interested in fighting my opponent's rhino. So we will sadly go down. That rhino has armor, so the Mustangs stand no chance, and, well, right now there are still 3 overlords left alive. Lucky for me, I did start with 2 marksmen that, at this stage in the game, have started to level, so they're now level 3. If I get a bit fortunate here, I might get a good Tara debuff and be able to get rid of that overlord. Let's see. Rhino, though, comes first, and lucky for me, my fast units managed to get in front of those marksmen, and that's crucial to be able to allow them to shoot, and, well, shoot they will. That is a big turn there on, you know, a round where my opponent kind of went for a surprise attack. Round number 6, and Shield Now Drop here shows up, but also efficient light manufacturing on top of the mass-produced rhino. Now our rhinos cost 150. Now, should I have taken this here? Probably not. I think there is a way for me to close this on round 6, considering how low on hit points my opponent is. And Efficient Light is one of those cards that takes a few turns to get profit from. But I just thought that it was, you know, it was kind of funny, and it's greedy, right? Like, it just feels good to have mass-produced rhinos on Elite and Efficient Light and just get access to those incredibly cheap level 2 rhinos. And yeah, well, I couldn't resist. I go for Whirlwind here as we triple recruit because I wanted to get rid of some of the chaff. I add a crawler here onto the flank to try and distract this overlord, hoping that this rhino might be able to get into the tower. Whether that actually works, I don't know. And we put a rhino up top there as well to try and deal with these crawlers. With the whirlwind, it should be able to immediately get rid of all of those. Yep, there we go. That's 24 crawlers in one whirlwind attack. And, well, my rhino does make it to tower, but isn't quite able to get, or kill it, take it down, because it is level 2. And, well, left side collapsing, sadly. We haven't managed to take down an overlord. But right side is still looking really strong. And I have yet to click AA on my marksman. As I say that, one of them gets taken out by the chin gun. And these guys, yep, going to the other tower. Another debuff. Marksman gonna go down. Rhino's still alive. Okay, we will luckily get rid of that. But we won't have anything left to take down any of these overlords. So I am gonna take a fair bit of damage. 1200 on round number 7. But hey, the game goes longer, which means that we're getting closer to making some profit from that efficient light that we took. On this round, I decide to pick up an intensive training, I believe. Opponent goes for the haste module. And should be leveling my marksman here. Probably just have to take some AA marksman, add some onto the left side of the board, maybe range my Mustangs. For now, I think that we do have enough rhinos. I'm going to try and beacon this one backwards so that, well, 1, we get rid of the crawlers, and 2, we can maybe delay part of these enemy forces. Because as you can see, there's a crawler, there's a boat, there's another crawler, and being able to pull those away should help me, because you kind of just pull apart the enemy army, and then it's a little bit easier for your chaff clear because they don't have to deal with as much chaff. It's a bit easier for your DPS units because they don't have to deal with, you know, 3 boats at the same time, but they only have to deal with 2. Overall, just a good thing to try. Opponent gonna go for ranged arc lights, realizing that I perhaps have a little bit too much chaff on the right side that's surviving. I do bubble up because I was expecting him to potentially go for something like a sticky oil bomb attack. He really loves to do that. Looks like that will be the case. And Rhino gonna be unanswered. Just going to be slowed down by a missile there. Opponent picking up some of the wasps. And we went for quadruple marksman on the left side. Even leveling 1 to level 4. And this, I just love this on Elite. Like, being able to recruit level 3 units for someone who loves to play small units is yeah, probably a big reason why I enjoy this specialist so much. But we're getting through on the left side. We managed to get rid of the Rhino. You can see this guy over here is causing havoc on the back line, pulling the Wasps, allowing my marksman to lock onto those level 2 boats. And yeah, that debuff is wonderful. We get 2 in succession, 14 seconds total, and all we need to do now is get those Wasps and secure the victory, I think. Yeah, no, that should be plenty with 3 Rhinos left and a bunch of other units. So round 7, quick little win. And yeah, happy with this first game. A fun one. Going into the mass-produced Rhinos all stemmed from that initial decision not to take the additional deployment slot and instead go for a beefy Rhino with portable shield. And yeah, then the card arrived and we both went for kind of a similar line. Efficient light manufacturing, I think, didn't end up paying off here. We only bought 6 units, if I'm correct. So, yeah, that means that we made 300, but that card, I believe, cost 350. So, yeah, not quite, but if the game went longer, then I would have been able to get more out of it. And, well, it's just, you know, how can you resist? Let's get over to game number 2. And here we are. Game number 2 versus Woot. This time around, he's the one with the elite pack. Will he pick it? We'll have to see. On my end, it's probably the spider pack again. I think, again, I know that Woot really loves to play air units, so having access to that level 3 marksman is nice. And I think the spider packs are just kind of the least vulnerable overall. The only like bad pack they can face is something like the quick supply there, but he didn't go for it. And instead it's going to be a bit of a mirror situation here, with both of us having spider openers, but my opponent having the void eyes. He's running a pretty interesting tech loadout, actually foregoing that free tech, the energy absorption, which I think is a fine thing to do. I haven't really tried the void eyes after the recent changes. The absorption tech is a bit weird. I think if you click it on round 1, you basically just don't want to think about the void eyes again. It's just a nice little boost in the early game, and then you just go about your regular way of playing. Opponent gonna go for more void eyes by the looks of it, or will he sell? Or well, sell. He could undo. I'm gonna go for a bit of a wider formation here. Fang kind of screening the front and then 1 horizontal in the middle. I do this because this way it covers more distance, right? So if anything is positioned on the left side, it'll be able to see more of the fangs. So I'll be able to pull units that are a bit further to the left than if I were to position it vertically here, right? Because, well, the distance would be greater, so sometimes the units might be closer to my tower and decide to go for that instead. This way I kind of maximize the amount of pulling that I can get. Going to undo and just buy some crawlers. I do get instant locks here with the marksman. Felt like I had to pick some DPS. I don't particularly love doing this, but I know that I'm going to get a marksman specialist. And, well, I get quite fortunate here with the way that things shape up or play out. And it does look like we'll be able to win. But yeah, I typically don't particularly enjoy playing marksman in a headbutt situation. They're not the highest DPS and they're not very fast either, so it's hard for them to pivot across the map. But I didn't want to like forfeit the first round. I needed some sort of DPS, and well, I could have gone void eyes, I guess, but playing 2 void eyes into 3 in a mirror didn't really seem like a great idea to me. Round number 2, we pick up the Farseer. It is the strongest unit that you could get, I think, on round 2. And here, I get my marksman as well. Now, I know Woot, and this formation I have seen time and time again. It is something he really loves to do. In general, with unit drops, he loves to shift his army to the left side, kind of use the bonus deployments plus his own to mount a big attack on the other side of the board, the weak side. I know this, and I felt like I was stronger on the right side for now. So I felt like I could afford to kind of make a play on the left as well, or at least try and preempt whatever he could do. And so that's what you see me go for here. I go for another spider. I go for another fang in the front. And then a Farseer and the Marksman. The Farseer is slightly further back, so that also deals with the potential deep flank. And yeah, this looks fantastic here. Farseer locks on, Spider able to clear the chaff as it runs in. Hopefully we can get a lock on here. Not quite. Well, at least the Farseer is shooting at its brother. And should be able to turn its attention to those crawlers that are coming in late. But very happy with my read here. Opponent sold a Spider, so we win the right side even harder. And this is lovely tempo so far. Very happy with that gamble. It pays off. And so we're able to keep winning here in the early game. Round number 3. Laser sight seems like an easy pickup. Intensive training, very good as well. Both of those probably want to pick up one. Well, both of them are very good, and we want to pick up at least one, I would say. Unless we have a very specific play in mind, but I doubt that we do. Opponent, by the way, is an aerial specialist. Going to just hide this panel for now. And I do pick up the intensive training, so both of us going to go for that spell. And yeah, we see a boat already being purchased here on round number 3. That is rather scary. I decided to pick up another crawler here to protect my Spider from getting insta-locked. Pretty happy I do that, considering there's a boat over there. And I pick up another Farseer on the right side to screen the other flank against a potential flank. And I level up my Farseer here to level 2 with the intensive. Looks like we can't quite chaff clear fast enough, though, as the crawlers just keep streaming in. Untacked Tarantula, not able to deal with everything. And not going to be able to take down that Arclight either. This debuff, very bad, I would say. As we aren't engaged in a fight whatsoever. Opponent gets a debuff as well. Most of it also doesn't do too much. Marksman, sadly, going to get caught out. But we managed to grab a debuff. And so now with the help of the Farseer and the Marksman, we should be able to close this round out. And so that's 3 in a row. We do a little bit more damage. Round number 4. Improved Wasp shows up. I am currently not running the ultimate carry Wasp text anymore. Especially after the nerf to the range. I feel like Improved Wasp was a little hard to play already. I think now, especially running the tech bar that I was, it's too risky. And it's just a lot safer to have something like Shielded Wasp on the bar. For whenever you want to use them as chaff. So yeah, trying that out right now. Maybe the carry Wasp comes back at some point. I still have some okay techs. I think I'm running range, ground spec, aerial, and shield. But yeah, not quite like the Giga carry, right? With the elite and the high explosive. So just going to be a skip. And opponent decides to sell out of his Overlord. Doesn't pick the redeploy there. Picks up mass-produced Overlords instead. And is now going to mount a push on the right side of the board. I do go for AA on my Marksman. And we will just be pushing into his left side tower. But he's trying to stall for as long as possible. Trying to make that Arclight kind of chaff clear as best it can. And let's see, how much can we do? Spiders still unteched. I mean, I don't really feel like teching them here does all that much. But I will say, Marksman not quite able to lock on the way that I was hoping they would. And the chaff dies pretty quick, so sadly, not going to be able to take down any of these boats, even though one of them is relatively low on hit points. Still got this big Marksman over here, but seems like the boats have set their eyes on my other tower. Can we get a debuff? That would be really lovely. We can. Okay, we will luckily take out that boat before it takes down my tower. So, another good round. 4 in a row, and the opponent now down to 2k hit points. Round number 5. Ion Blast shows up. Enhancement module, though. That is a tough one, considering my opponent is into boats and also has that intensive training. Gonna use it on that Farseer instead. And then transfer it onto a boat that is very close to leveling. So probably will be able to get that level next turn. And I decided to use it on the Farseer as well. I wanted to keep it on the board for now. I probably should have sold it, I think, in hindsight. Tough to say. Either way, I could sell it next turn, I guess. And opponent is going to buy more boats and already go for a second tech. with the mothership. Now, it's a bit of a gamble here. I probably should go for Mustang, but I wanted to buy more chaff because my opponent didn't have any chaff clear on the right side whatsoever. So I wanted to just like buy some time and allow my spiders to clear the couple crawlers and then my marksmen to lock onto the boats. So that's the play I wanted to go for. Should I have gone Mustang? Probably. I think Mustang can also function as chaff. So yeah, this is not a completely unguessable round. I think going mothership here is something that I could have expected. Is it going to hurt us though? We'll have to see. I do have Farseer, so that was also kind of factored in. I felt like Farseer should be able to kind of help out with wasps, but yeah, with 4 boats, there is an awful lot of them, and this Farseer just doesn't really seem to be able to do much of anything. Again, 4 boats left alive, and more wasps are going to spawn, so we're going to take, pun intended, a boatload of damage. Not looking too good here. Left side, we are pushing in, but hard to, yeah, really do much there. And this is kind of the power of the strategy that he likes to play. He runs jump drive on his units, and yeah, that allows him to kind of move around an extreme amount of resources, more than you will often be able to with the defending units, which are often going to be Melter or Mustang. None of those units, right, can redeploy. Round number 6, and opponent picks up Sandworm. As I don't get Mustang there, sadly. I was hoping I would. I pick up the Wraith instead, because I think, okay, there are like a ton of things here that I need to be worried about, and Wraith should be able to deal with Wasp, as long as they're not like ranged and aerial, but not ideal here. Just gonna have to try and work with what we have. And because I get the Wraith, I feel like going for Mustang is no longer necessary. And I opted to go for loose formation crawlers. So I'm going for the line here that my opponent has no chaff clear, therefore buying more chaff should be useful. Loose formation is even better, right? Will make it hard for the boats to splash. And so should just up the efficiency of the crawlers that I do have, or the chaff that I do have, by a ton. Opponent, though, has an awful lot of tanky units on the board. We didn't really manage to connect with the Overlords before. And now there's 3 more Sandworms with armor, 70k hit points, 73, 80k now with the first tower enhancement, 160k on the level 2. I'm not sure we have the power, the DPS to get through that. And yeah, the crawlers are doing a good job of distracting, I will say. We beacon our units from the left to the right because, well, I was guessing he would level this tower even more, which he does, and hopefully we can just connect our armies together, but it doesn't really seem like we're getting anywhere. Sandworms, they're low on hit points, but low on hit points doesn't quite cut it. We're gonna need them to die. As I get debuffed, only a spider is left. How much damage are we taking here? 1200? Plus 3 Sandworms, I believe. That is an awful lot of damage. And I think we just lose. Yeah, just about. Minus 88. Oof. Yeah, wrong read there. Or, well, wrong read. I think it was still fine to go for chaff because my opponent doesn't have any chaff clear. But yeah, just piling the stats here on top of each other means that he can brute force through my army. And I don't have what it takes to take his units down. Farseer is doing what it can, ends up doing 121,000 damage there on the final round. Maybe I should have sold it. Maybe multi-melter here can work some magic, but yeah, pretty rough one. I think going Mustang earlier also could have helped on the turn that I went for crawlers to get rid of a potential wasp spawn, but this was going to be a tough round, or a tough game anyway, as there's a lot of beefy stuff on the board, and yeah, that enhancement module plus intensive is a nasty combination when paired with boats. So we're 1-1. Let's send it to game number 3. Game 3, here we are. So this is going to be the final one to determine the winner of this small little contest that we had on ladder. Now, having a look at my packs yet again, I quite like that Amplify spec on the top right. 5100 hit points, absolutely lovely. And some good starter units too. Arclights, always going to be useful. Steel balls have good matchups in the early game, so not going to hear me complain about this one. For Woot, has a quick supply, has a Typhoon spec here that is good. Giant spec could allow him to get into boats if he wants to. Even training spec, honestly, is pretty decent. That's what he's going to go for. 4,800 hit points. Hound Ball. Can level up a Hound here on round 1, which is what he's going to do. Allows him to one-shot crawlers, which I should be picking. I do need some chaff. And again, we are going to be playing on the right side of the board. Kind of a handshake, as always, with the boat captain. Small amp cores. Where do I want to put them? I'm not sure. Could just throw them onto steel balls here. Could throw them on the arc lights as well. There's no, like, super meaningful break points, I think. I guess you can no longer missile arc lights when they have that small amp core. But the tankiness on the steel balls is also quite nice, so that's what we're going to go for. 2 of the small amp cores used, and then we're just going to hold on to 1. I feel like it's not the most useful on arc lights. They already one-shot crawlers at level 1, so like I'm not getting any meaningful breakpoints in my opinion. Tankiness though on the steel balls is definitely going to matter a little bit, at least in these mirror situations and against the hounds, of course. Can we win though? Doesn't quite look like it here. Opponent does keep more steel balls alive, and the hounds are still fighting back as well. Although I say that, Arclight DPS through the roof here. 16k, 17k, and still climbing 18k. I mean, I do like Arclights in the early game, I have to say. And yeah, here we go. Almost 20k damage dealt on round 1. 51 units killed. What a hero. And able to make us win. If only by a small margin. Round number 2. Farseer here shows up yet again, and it is good into every single one of the other drops. So, yeah, again, hard to skip this one. I think it is the best, as I said before, unit drop that you can get on round 2. In some scenarios, you might not want it, and you might want to pick the Phoenix instead. But in this one, up against Hound, up against Steel Ball, 2 units that the Farseer likes to shoot at, and up against potentially Phoenix, Phantom, or Void Eye, which are all good units for the Farseer to shoot at as well, it makes a lot of sense. In a game where your opponent is playing Sabertooth or Spider, it might not be as useful. It has okay, pretty decent damage, but not necessarily against those bigger 200 cost units. So that would be a scenario where I would pick Phoenix instead, but otherwise Farseer just always lovely. Gonna be screening the flank again, and we do have a Phoenix over there. We also level this tower on the left, and I think we add some more chaff in front of our units. So double Phoenix flank coming in. This one shouldn't work. This one should get delayed because that tower has been leveled. And yeah, Farseer able to turn in time. Very happy about that, since it is our only anti-air right now. So it would be nice if it survives, because then it can deal with these Phoenixes on the left. Tower will fall. Phoenixes will go to the middle, I think, unless they decide to somehow go for my tower. No, they are distracted. They will be going for my arc lights. And as you pick up the tower, the Farseer should be able to clean them up. There we go. So another solid back-to-back early game win. Round number 3, Amplifying Core looks pretty decent here. I might want to just pick up another Farseer. Fortified Overlord, not the best card. I don't really want to play Giants. It's not something that I like to do that much. Efficient Giant Manufacturing, though, could be something that you pick up here. I mean, I have 5,100 hit points, so that could be an idea. Opponent picks up the Amp Core as well, though. We're just both going to go for that. And do I want to deal with this left side? I'm not sure. I would kind of like another Farseer here on the left. Opponent's already, like, kind of hyper-leveling these Hounds, buying even more of them. One level 3, one level 2, now picks up the range. Getting a little bit scary. And I'm thinking, okay, the Arclights are doing fine. They have done fine, but I feel like my opponent is going to be going for more Hounds, and Arclights just aren't going to cut it anymore. They're not shooting fast enough to be able to deal. with headbutts, with the hounds, and I felt like I wanted to get my hands into something else. For now, we're just going to go for a missile here on the left, which is going to kill that Phoenix. Didn't want to overcommit, add more resources. Wanted to add a Farseer in the middle, where it could actually shoot at, you know, more enemy units and be engaged in the main fight immediately. And it looks like we are doing quite fine so far, but I'm really thinking, okay, for now I have a nice kind of intermediary DPS unit, which is going to be the Farseer. And I can focus on my chaff clear because, again, Arclights aren't going to cut it, and I need something else that can scale a bit better in these headbutt scenarios. Round number 4, improved firepower control system shows up, and I will pick it. Very strong item. If you don't want any of the other cards, usually it's correct to pick this. Opponent's going to pick the efficient giant manufacturing this time, as it shows up back to back. And I will decide to go for a Wraith. Kind of the king of headbutt chaff clear. Very, very powerful with that improved firepower control system. And yeah, good into crawler, good into hound. And honestly, pretty good into low-level steel balls as well, if you manage to get some levels or an item like this one. Gonna decide to pick up steel ball levels here because I saw that they were doing well. They were tanking for the team. And with the levels, his steel balls shouldn't really be able to do too much. Gonna pick up even more chaff here, I believe. As we pick up one over there. Trying to find what I did with the remaining resource. Oh, right, I bought a Wraith. So one chaff, one Wraith. Opponent gonna be pushing into the left side now. Triple recruit, blue steel ball, and 2 blue hounds. So really has his eyes set on my weak side, but doing so means that he doesn't have any anti-air anymore because he sold out of his Phoenix, and that means I get a default win, and that's ideal for when you're into Wraith because getting levels on this thing is hard. It has a very, very high XP threshold for level 1. It's 2250. For reference, steel balls only have 1000, hounds only have 700. Farseer has 1800, which is also on the higher end, but you still need 450 more on a Wraith. But yeah, being able to just get a default win while most of your ground is losing allows the Wraith to farm up all of that juicy experience. And, well, lucky for me, my opponent did elite recruit, and the elite recruited units at level 2 are worth triple the amount of a level 1. So, yeah, we do manage to immediately level this up, and that is a absolutely lovely result, as our opponent also is down to 2100. Round number 5, nano repair kit here doesn't look too bad. I could go underground threat as well. It's gonna go pick up that underground threat instead. Most of my units already had items, so it would be hard to use the nano. And underground might allow me to get a debuff. We do pick up the level on the Wraith. Opponent, though, picks up Assault Melting Point, and with the efficient giant manufacturing, goes for double melting point with diffraction. Multi-melter immediately here on round 5. Safe to say I wasn't expecting that. I don't think I even saw that he picked up efficient giant, and then this turn he picked up Assault Melter, and, well, it's not really his playstyle typically to go for something like this, so I was a bit surprised. He's loaning again on round 5 again. I was talking about this. He really loves to go for those early mid-game kind of power plays. And looks like our underground is going to go through. We picked up more chaff, and we went for impact drill. That way we could fight his underground threat if he were to go for it, and we also get to take down that tower a little bit faster. Now, these melting points are awfully tanky, I will say. 52k hit points at level 1. That is beefy, but they do give up 15 range with another minus 30 because of this, so they're very, very short range, snub-nosed, tanky melting points sitting at 70 meter range. You can bump that up to 110, of course, by picking range, but yeah, very different from regular melters. Round number 6, Port Shield here looks like a good item for my opponent. Yeah, he will pick it up, has a level available. So now it's a level 4 melting point. 200k, 210k hit points effectively with that item, which is a lot That's an awful lot. And even tankier than level 4, it's a level 4 assault melting point, right? Which gains 70% bonus hit points compared to a regular melter. Now, round number 6. I think I had already picked up range on my Wraith, didn't really feel like I needed more, but I'm gonna go for more steel balls and mechanical division. This is one of the ways that you can beat multi-melters. If you're already into steel ball, which I was, and I didn't really want to sell out of them because they were doing fine, then diffraction can be really good. Multi-melter is good into steel ball, but if you spawn those crawlers upon death, it can just overwhelm the diffraction and the beams, and then hopefully you can kind of lock on with the steel balls that are still alive and take down the melters. Because steel balls are good at killing big units, you just need to have them lock on. We also go for EMP here on our Farseers, just a clever button to click. I don't know why you wouldn't do it if you're into Farseer. It only costs 100, and EMP is also a counter to Melting Point. The alternative, I guess, would be to just go for your own melters, but because I was already into Steel Ball and Wraith, and because we were in a headbutt scenario, I didn't feel like going melter made that much sense, and so I'm gonna go for this play here instead. Melter though, man oh man, it is really, really tanky, and sadly a Steel Ball here knows the mission, takes down my 2 towers, and we don't even manage to win. Round number 7. Sandworms here show up. Vulcan, Raiden, Fire Badger. I didn't feel like I needed Chaff Clear. I have Wraith, which is probably the best Chaff Clear in the game, so no need to double stack with Fire Badger or Vulcan. Raiden, not ideal. Could try to go for it maybe with EMP if I'm expecting him to go Fire Badger, which he does, but instead I go for the Sandworms. Really been liking Mechanical Division on this unit, and kind of has a similar purpose to the Mech Div Steel Balls that we already had. So we're stacking Mech Div on the 2 units here that have it, which is Steel Ball and the Sandworms, spawning larvae, spawning crawlers, just trying to create too many targets for the Melter to lock onto, and hopefully allowing some of these Steel Balls that now also have range to take them down. Going to be a triple ball recruit. One here on the... is that correct? Looks like a double Steel Ball recruit, if I'm not mistaken. And then maybe another chaff somewhere. Yeah, one crawler here in the back. Just kind of trying to screen the left tower. It's leveled, but yeah, opponent now going to go for a Steel Ball attack, and considering my oil has disappeared, that makes a lot of sense. Trying to just stall it for as long as I can with the Sandworm. It definitely won't be winning, but if I can buy myself some time, then maybe I can kill some of these melters on the way in. Left side, it does seem like it needs a Wraith, so I'm happy that I picked that up. And yeah, late crawlers, happy I added those, distracting the Steel Balls for a little bit. As we're now moving into the melters, we have managed to lock on, but this guy awfully tanky, like, oh my days, that takes forever. And we do get debuffed in the end. Right side though, we have those larvae from the Mech Div Worm. We still have a decent amount of Steel Balls left, and every one of them will spawn 5 crawlers upon death. Wraith did a really good job of chaff clearing, and it looks like we should be able to win, as there's not much chaff left, and the Steel Balls with the EMP Farseer here are going to be able to seal the deal on round number 7. It's not over yet though. And round number 8, we have an Orbital Javelin offered. Feels like that is a mandatory pickup. Deployment module doesn't really do much for me. My big units that would get javed already have an item. So seems like Orbital Javelin is the way to go. Not very easy though to aim here, because level 2 melting points can survive it, and especially when they have Assault melting point. So I can't really kill any of the melters. Unless I expect him to buy new melters, and I'm guessing where he's going to put them. But I still think Javelin is fine. Getting rid of the Fire Badgers, maybe of the Steel Ball pack, could aim it over here, would be fine. Opponent sells out of a melter on the right side and decides to move his units to the left. Oh, he actually doesn't sell it. Never mind. He doesn't go for Javelin himself, which I thought that he should do, because killing my Wraith here is rather important. But just goes for an oil play, trying to kill my chaff, and then moves everything onto the left side of the board. I am trying to just kind of fortify here the left, kind of defend it, because I was already losing the left side last round. So we add 3 more steel balls. And we go for armor as well. Or 2 more steel balls, excuse me. 1 in front of the tower, 1 on the left. 3rd tech here, armor enhancement. The reason I go armor enhancement is 1, it gives me more hit points. And more importantly, it's very good against Fire Badger. Fire Badgers are strong when they all hit the same target, but they've actually got really low attack. 94 at level 3. That means that even level 1 steel ball with armor blocks like 67% or so of the damage coming in. And that is very powerful, because low level or high level badgers can just kill low level steel balls if you don't have this on there, and fire badgers are good into crawler. So I wanted to prevent at all costs that the badgers could do anything, so this is how we do it. Left side seems like it has managed to stall for long enough, although this melting point here has locked onto my tower, so we'll grab a debuff. At the same time though, we are locked onto that melter, we are locked onto his tower. 7 seconds to debuff coming right in. And yeah, still do have a Farseer left alive over here. Applying EMP, steel balls coming in, Sandworm actually unscathed. And with a worm, this many steel balls, a Wraith of Farseer still alive, that is going to be enough to close the game on round number 8. So we do win this this small best of 3 on ladder. A host of different games. Again, you can see how the play styles kind of match up, and how we play around each other. I think a good selection of games. We had some giants. We had some rhinos at the very start with the lead spec. We had this one, which is a nice way to beat assault melters with multi-melt. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of all of these games. If you want to stay up to date on my latest content, please consider subscribing. If you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.